My dear, before you move past this moment, stop here for a second and breathe, because something quiet and unusual has been moving around your life, and deep inside, you have already felt that shift, even if you could not explain it. Someone connected to your future has become emotionally unsettled after noticing something about you that most people never truly see. It was not because you did something loud, not because you begged for attention, not because you tried to prove your worth. It happened because they sensed something real in you, and once that truth touched their heart, their inner world stopped feeling normal. Stay with me, because this part matters. What they noticed is not flashy. It is not the kind of thing people praise on the surface. In fact, many walk past it every day without knowing how rare it is. But this person saw it, they felt it, and the moment they understood who you are under the outer layer, something changed inside them. Some people enter a room and ask to be seen. You are different. You shift the whole feeling of a space without trying. The one meant for you has known noise for too long. They have lived around empty words, short-lived closeness, and smiles that looked warm but felt cold after the moment passed. They learned how to act fine. They learned how to carry hurt without naming it. Yet somehow, your energy reached them, not first through beauty, not through status, not through perfection. It reached them through sincerity, through the truth in your spirit, through the calm way you care. And now their thoughts are not as steady as they used to be, because something about you feels honest in a world where honesty is becoming harder and harder to find. Lately they have been sitting in silence longer than usual, replaying small things about you in their mind, as if those tiny details hold a meaning too deep to ignore. The way you speak when something truly matters to you, the way your eyes seem to soften when your heart is involved, the gentle shift in your energy when you care for someone for real. They are beginning to understand that your presence feels unlike the presence of anyone else they have known. Do not click away yet, because the next part goes deeper. For a long time this person believed love had to feel confusing in order to be powerful. They got used to mixed signals. They got used to distance. They got used to unfinished stories and emotions that never felt safe enough to rest. But then your energy entered their path like a quiet interruption, and now they are questioning everything they once accepted as normal. They are wondering why peace feels so strange to them, and why that same peace feels tied to you. What shakes them most is not that you seem perfect. It is that you do not try to look extraordinary. You simply feel real. That is what touched them in the deepest way. People copy depth now. People perform sensitivity. People build polished versions of themselves just to be admired. But you, even with your doubts, your soft moments, your hidden scars, still carry something true. They noticed it slowly at first, then all at once, like rain gathering in silence before it finally falls. Since that feeling settled in their heart, they have not been able to act emotionally normal around the thought of you. Some days they catch themselves smiling for no reason. Some nights they imagine a future conversation with you that has not happened yet. Some moments they wonder how you stayed so gentle after everything life has placed on your shoulders, and that question stays with them longer than they want to admit. What keeps pulling at them is the growing realization that your heart could become the safest place they have ever known. And that thought is beautiful to them, but it also scares them. There is another layer here. They recently understood that you are not someone who gives the deepest parts of your soul away too easily. You watch quietly. You feel deeply. You may laugh with many people, yet only a few ever reach the hidden rooms inside you. Instead of pushing them away, this truth draws them closer. It makes them want honesty more than ever. It makes them tired of shallow bonds. Even before holding your hand, part of them already fears losing the chance to truly know you. Think about that for a moment. Sometimes they wonder if you know your own effect on people. Sometimes they wonder if you understand how healing your presence can be to someone exhausted by games, confusion, and emotional performance. They imagine simple moments with you. A quiet evening after a long day. A laugh over something small that no one else would understand. The comfort of not having to pretend. That is what keeps touching them. They are becoming attached to the idea of peace with you, instead of chaos with someone else. And peace is still new to them. That is why it shakes them. Listen carefully, because this is rare. They are not attached to some fantasy version of you. It is your imperfections that reached them. Your quietness, your emotional depth, your resilience, the way you keep moving, even after being disappointed. The way you still try to protect other people from pain, even when your own heart is tired. Those are the details changing them. They once thought excitement mattered more than stability. Now they are starting to see they need both, and somehow your energy seems to carry both at the same time. Something is still unfolding behind the scenes. Timing is still doing its quiet work. Distance is still teaching its lessons. But emotionally, something has already started, and they can feel it more strongly every day. A strange thing has been happening in their heart. The more they try to behave normally about you, the more distracted they become. At first they told themselves these feelings would pass like every other short-lived fascination. They tried to stay practical. They tried not to read too much into your energy. They told themselves not to let their thoughts run too far into the future. But every time they try to return to logic, the same feeling interrupts them. Comfort. Deep, unfamiliar comfort. The kind that reaches parts of a person they stopped showing the world a long time ago. Stay here, because this part is important. There are moments now when they go quiet in the middle of a conversation because your presence suddenly crosses their mind. Someone asks them a simple question, and somehow they drift back to thoughts of you. A song plays, and you are there again. They picture the future, and without even meaning to, you are standing somewhere inside it. What unsettles them most is this. They are beginning to care about your feelings before they even know how deeply you care about theirs. That kind of softness feels risky to them. In the past they protected themselves by staying distant until others proved they were safe. But your energy quietly broke that pattern. That is why they may seem warm one moment and distant the next. Not because they want to play games, but because they are trying to manage a feeling they do not fully understand yet. They are trying to control something that keeps growing stronger. But real emotion does not answer to control. It answers to truth, and truth is where they are being led now. Whether they feel ready or not, they are also noticing something else. Nothing around them feels the same anymore. Other connections do not carry the same depth. Other conversations do not reach the same place. Other people do not create the same impact. That comparison is happening on its own, and it is changing everything. The reason this feels so powerful is simple. Once someone experiences a certain kind of connection, even from a distance, it becomes harder to settle for surface-level affection. They see in you a kindness that survived difficult seasons. They see a softness that life did not manage to destroy, and that touches them in ways they cannot easily explain. There is another truth they are keeping mostly to themselves. They are starting to fear disappointing you. Read that again in your heart. In a world where so many only worry about protecting themselves, this person is beginning to ask whether they are emotionally ready to deserve someone like you. Your energy does not simply make them want to impress you for a moment. It makes them want to become better for real. That feeling overwhelms them. It pushes them to face old habits, hidden walls, unfinished healing, and private insecurities they usually avoid. Yet instead of making them run from you, it draws them closer. They feel that you would see through any mask they wear eventually. Not in a cruel way, not in a judging way, in a deeply honest way. They feel like your soul would notice every quiet sadness they hide, every old disappointment, every tired part of them that only wants a safe place to rest. That realization has made them restless lately because deep down, they have wanted this kind of connection for longer than they admit. Sometimes they wonder if you can already feel their energy moving slowly toward your life. There are moments when the pull becomes almost too strong for them to ignore. They imagine what your first truly open conversation might feel like. What it would be like to stop pretending around someone. What it would be like to receive love without constantly doubting if it will disappear. They have carried emotional uncertainty for so long, but around the thought of you, something inside them begins to relax. And that change is not small. It is changing the way they think about love itself. They no longer want a connection that only looks beautiful from the outside. Now they want depth, loyalty, emotional honesty, shared quiet without pressure. They want someone whose presence still feels meaningful after the excitement settles. The moment they sensed that you carry those qualities naturally, their emotions became impossible to sort neatly anymore. That is why they seem consumed by the thought of you lately, not because you are flawless, but because your energy feels true in a world full of performance. There are still hidden pieces of this story moving in silence. Timing is still arranging certain meetings. Some truths have not fully stepped into the light yet, but inside them, change has already started. Even before fully entering your life, your presence is reshaping what they believe love can feel like. And what happens next may surprise even them, because soon they may stop trying to deny these feelings and begin moving closer to what they secretly cannot stop thinking about. Something shifted again inside them recently, and this time it was too strong to explain away. They were in the middle of an ordinary day, pretending to focus on normal life, when your energy crossed their mind with unusual force, not as a fantasy, not as a passing thought, but as someone who already feels emotionally important to the future they want. That realization hit quietly but deeply. You are becoming the person they compare everyone else to without even trying. That truth unsettled them, because now shallow interactions feel emptier. Temporary connections feel easier to leave behind. Once they recognized sincerity in you, it became much harder to return comfortably to disconnected affection and conversations that never touch the soul. And here is something even softer. They are beginning to understand that the peace they searched for in so many places may have been connected to you all along. There are nights when they imagine the future with you so clearly it almost feels like memory, instead of imagination. Not dramatic scenes, not impossible perfection, just simple moments full of quiet meaning. And those simple moments are what move them most. They picture a quiet drive with music playing softly while your hand rests near theirs. They imagine listening to you talk about something that truly matters to you. They imagine the comfort of ordinary evenings made beautiful simply because they are shared with the right person. Those small images affect them more than anything flashy ever could, because for the first time they are craving emotional stability, not just intensity. And here is the truth they are slowly admitting to themselves. You make them want to slow down. That feeling is new for them. They spent so much of life rushing emotionally, chasing attention, chasing excitement, chasing people who never really chose them. But your energy feels different. Loving you does not seem like it would require constant struggle for reassurance. It feels like arriving somewhere safe after wandering too long. Lately they have also started to admire the way you carry yourself through pain. You do not always announce your hurt. You do not turn your wounds into a show for sympathy. Yet somehow they can sense your quiet strength, your resilience, your maturity, your softness that survived disappointment. That combination overwhelms them, because they know how hard it is to remain gentle after life has tested you again and again. Sometimes they wonder if you know how attractive emotional honesty really is. The world teaches people to hide behind pride, distance, and emotional games. But even when you are guarded, your energy still carries truth. They notice that right away. They notice how your kindness feels natural, instead of calculated. They notice how your presence makes people feel seen. Secretly, they have become attached to the idea of being fully understood by someone like you. And yes, that makes them nervous. Not because they fear you, but because they fear how real this could become once every wall falls. They sense you could reach parts of their heart nobody else has ever touched properly. And that possibility both comforts and terrifies them at the same time. Do not scroll yet, because the next layer is even deeper. Deep down, this person has carried a hidden loneliness for longer than most people know, even in crowded rooms, even in laughter, even in moments that looked full from the outside. There was still an emptiness sitting underneath it all. But lately your energy has been interrupting that emptiness, like warmth entering a room they forgot could feel alive again. Now they are starting to imagine a future they once thought was too far away for them. A future where love does not demand emotional exhaustion. A future where trust grows naturally instead of painfully. A future where they can finally rest beside someone who truly understands their soul. What once felt distant now feels strangely close whenever they think of you. They recently realized they do not just admire your energy, they respect it, and respect changes everything. Attraction can happen quickly, curiosity can fade, but respect grows slowly, and once it settles in the heart, feelings become serious in a way that cannot be ignored. They respect your resilience, they respect your depth, they respect the way your presence calms instead of drains. The moment admiration turned into emotional respect, their feelings became much heavier, much more real. That is why they cannot stop thinking about you. That is why your energy keeps returning in quiet moments. That is why they suddenly care about becoming emotionally ready for the kind of love they used to doubt. Because without fully realizing it, they are already making space for you in their inner life. And the story is still not at its strongest part yet. Something meaningful is still approaching. Timing is still shaping details. Neither of you can see clearly, but they can feel change coming. They can feel their heart moving towards something deeper, calmer, and more genuine than anything they have known before. There is a quiet tension building inside them now, the kind that rises when someone senses their life may be about to change in a very real emotional way. At first they thought they could keep this distant and manageable, but your energy keeps returning stronger every time they try to ignore it. Lately, something about you has started to feel strangely familiar to them, as if their heart recognizes your presence before their mind fully understands why. They have noticed how different their feelings are when they think of you compared to everyone else. With others there was always doubt, hesitation, emotional tiredness. With you even uncertainty feels softer. Even the unknown feels hopeful. That difference is hard for them to escape now. They are starting to realize that what they feel around you is not built on illusion. It feels grounded, calm, real. That truth is becoming impossible to run from. Sometimes they imagine what your voice would sound like after a long and difficult day. They imagine how your presence would feel in silence. They imagine what it might be like to finally be honest with someone without fear of being misunderstood. These thoughts do not need to be forced anymore. They come naturally, and each time they come, their walls weaken a little more. What surprises them most is this. They are no longer dreaming about perfect love. They are dreaming about peaceful love, about waking up next to someone genuine, about being accepted without needing to act strong every second, about sharing silence that feels safe, about telling the truth without it becoming dangerous. Somehow every version of that peaceful life keeps leading them back to you. They have also started looking at their past in a new way, not only with regret, but with understanding. They see now how often they settled for what distracted them from loneliness, instead of what healed it. They confused attention with affection, excitement with compatibility, temporary closeness with lasting understanding. But your energy broke those old patterns without even trying. Now they are seeing one life-changing truth. Your presence does not leave them emotionally drained. It leaves them feeling restored, and that is rare enough to shake them deeply. Because once a person feels peace, chaos loses a lot of its power. There are moments when they suddenly wonder if life has been preparing both of you separately for longer than either of you realizes. They think about all the delays, all the disappointments, all the detours, and they begin to wonder if those hard paths were not punishment at all. Maybe they were preparation for a bond that would finally feel balanced instead of confusing. And here is what they have not openly admitted. They are already becoming protective of your future together. Even before everything clearly unfolds, they care about your happiness. They care about your emotional safety. They care about whether life has been gentle enough with your heart lately. That tenderness inside them keeps growing in quiet ways. The more it grows, the more attached they become to the idea of building something real with you. Sometimes they wonder if you know how much comfort your energy naturally gives others. To you, your kindness may feel ordinary. Your patience may feel normal. Your depth may feel like nothing special. But to someone who has spent years around emotionally unavailable people, your presence feels extraordinary. And that is exactly what they are reacting to now. Not just attraction, relief, emotional relief. There are nights when they stay awake longer than usual, imagining conversations that have not happened yet. Honest ones, vulnerable ones, the kind where two people slowly stop hiding the most guarded parts of themselves. Every time they picture those moments, they feel excitement and fear at once. Excitement because your connection feels meaningful. Fear because meaningful connections change people for good. But something inside them keeps repeating the same truth. You may become the person who finally teaches them that love does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it comes gently, patiently, quietly, like warmth returning after a long cold season. And the closer they get to that truth, the more emotionally awake they become. Around the thought of you, they feel more honest with themselves, more hopeful about tomorrow, more willing to believe genuine love still exists beyond temporary attention and repeated disappointment. This awakening is changing them in ways nobody around them fully sees yet. They are becoming softer again, more open again, more willing to trust again. And all of it began the moment they understood who you really are beneath the surface. Not someone trying to impress the world, not someone pretending to be flawless, but someone rare enough to make another soul feel calm simply by existing. There is another truth they have been discovering too. The more they think about you, the less they want relationships built on guessing games, pride, or confusion. They are becoming tired of uncertainty, tired of people who speak without sincerity, tired of connections that look beautiful in public but feel empty in private. After sensing your energy, they finally understand what alignment feels like, and now shallow bonds leave them exhausted. That realization is changing the way they move through life, changing the way they see commitment, changing the way they define love. Sometimes in the middle of normal routines, your shared future flashes across their mind unexpectedly. A simple drive, a quiet evening, cooking together after a long day, sitting in the same room without pressure to fill every silence. Those images move them more deeply than dramatic fantasies ever did, because they are no longer craving intensity without stability. They are craving peace that stays. Somehow your energy keeps becoming the picture of that peace inside them. They recently realized that around the thought of you, they feel safe enough to be imperfect. Think about how rare that is. Most people spend years trying to appear strong, untouched, completely in control. But your energy makes them feel as though they could finally breathe without performing, as though they could finally admit when they are tired, admit when they are afraid, admit when they need love too. That kind of emotional safety is becoming addictive to their heart in the healthiest way. And yes, it scares them sometimes, because they know connections like this do not happen often. Stay with me now, because this turning point is where everything begins to shift. Sometimes they wonder whether you already feel this change happening on your side too, because from where they stand, the connection no longer feels distant. It feels certain in a quiet way, not forced, not rushed, just steady, like something life has been slowly moving toward for a very long time. And what comes next may be the moment that changes everything, because they are reaching the point where silence about these feelings is no longer possible. Their heart is growing louder than their fear. They are standing at a turning point now, the kind that changes a person quietly but permanently. For so long they believed they could control this by hiding it. They thought distance would weaken it. They thought logic would win. They thought daily life would distract them enough to make these feelings fade. But the opposite happened. The more they tried to silence what they feel for you, the stronger it became. Now they are beginning to understand that you are no longer just a thought passing through their mind once in a while. You have become part of the emotional future they secretly want. That is why your connection feels so different from what they knew before. It is not built on performance. It is not built on pretending. It is not built on short excitement that disappears when life gets hard. It feels grounded, steady, safe, and that safety is healing places inside them they thought would stay guarded forever. There are nights when they sit quietly thinking about how strange it feels to care this deeply without fully knowing how it happened. They replay the energy of your presence, the sincerity in your spirit, the calmness your soul carries without effort. Every memory leads them back to the same truth. You feel like home to them in an emotional way. That truth overwhelms them, because for so long they searched for love in places that only gave temporary attention instead of real understanding. But when they think of you, something in them finally relaxes, as if their heart has stopped running for the first time in years. What they feel is no longer simple curiosity. It is emotional certainty slowly taking shape. The kind that grows in silence until one day it becomes impossible to deny. They are starting to imagine not just moments with you, but a whole life with you. A life where both of you feel safe enough to stop pretending. A life where love does not feel confusing. A life where honesty becomes natural instead of frightening. The more they picture that life, the more attached they become to the hope of making it real. Yes, fear still speaks sometimes. Old wounds still remind them how painful disappointment can be. There are moments when they wonder whether something this meaningful could really last. But then your energy touches their heart again, and the doubt softens. They are learning that real love is not supposed to feel like emotional survival. It is supposed to feel like peace. That understanding is changing them. They are becoming more intentional, more open, more aware of what truly matters. Without fully realizing it, they are preparing themselves for the very kind of commitment they once feared. There is another truth they have not fully said out loud. You make them believe in love again. Not fantasy, not illusion. Real love. The kind where two people choose each other honestly. The kind where vulnerability is not used as a weapon. The kind where both hearts feel safe enough to grow instead of constantly defending themselves. They thought they lost faith in that a long time ago. Then your energy entered quietly and changed everything. Now they catch themselves imagining what it would feel like to wake up next to someone who truly understands them, someone who brings calm instead of confusion, someone who feels emotionally real even in silence. And every road inside their heart seems to lead back to you. If you have been feeling lately that something meaningful is moving behind the scenes, trust that feeling.